All right, ladies and gentlemen. So I have a first time guest, an interview that I've been excited to do. I think I reached out initially like 2 weeks ago or so to schedule this. So I'm just gonna go ahead and introduce her. We have Charrise Lane in the building. What's going on, ma'am?
Hi, everyone.
So I don't know where to start. So like I don't know how to introduce you because like you do like you're so much like you're a conservatist, right? You're also a
hmm
Trump supporter, but I don't want to identify you as that because I think people try to throw African American Trump supporters in that box of just being the black Trump supporter. So I don't want to just
Right.
put you in that box. Like you stand for African American rights, being pro American, being pro God and pro family. And that's the kind of thing that I kind of want to focus on first, especially like at being at a young age and everything. Like, how did you become so convicted so early on? Because for me, it took me like until my mid 20s before I started taking politics and stuff seriously.
hmm Well, I got interested probably in middle school. I told this story before, but when I was in seventh grade, my history teacher, she challenged us to research on both sides, research the Democratic Party and the Republican Party.
Mm-hmm.
And when I did that, that's when I started really identifying with conservative values. I was raised Christian. I was raised in the church. My grandfather's a pastor. So it just took me researching both of those parties and, my values to realize, I am conservative and that's how I was raised.
Okay. That's what's up. And so, like, where that's taking you, and like, I think I want because I do want to talk about it. I think, especially because like my audience, I do have a lot of Democratic listeners and stuff. But I don't like to get into politics and parties and stuff like that. I believe in like doing whatever, identifying with whoever identifies with your values and your core morals and things like that. But the response on social media, was it negative first and then it got better later? Like how do you deal with that? Because I just can't imagine it.
At first, it was really bad. I mean, yeah, it was just really bad. It's still kind of bad right now, but I
Mm,
have more people willing to listen because I've been being consistent in, my stances, and I'm not backing down for anybody.
yeah.
If I want to believe this, and if I want to stand on this, this is what I'm going to stand on.
Mm,
So it's just been a mixture now, before it was not a good. It wasn't not good feedback at all.
yeah.
So
Yeah, so I know, and I because you have to like balance between, of course, defending yourself, which you have the right to do, but like, and also I guess sometimes trying to hear them out before they get like crazy. So like, has there ever been a time where maybe something started off negative and then it went the other way and went into a positive conversation?
yes, because I like to take the time to listen to other people as well.
Mm,
If I want them to listen to me, I'm gonna do the same for them. Really, it's not even about party for me.
mm,
It's just taking the time to listen to someone, hear their point of view, and if we agree to disagree, that's fine. But we
yeah.
could just keep it cordial. We can still keep it cordial and get our points across.
That's what's up, and that's good. That's a great mindset to have, especially early on, because you have a bright future ahead of you. I'm sure people have told you that already all the time, and you're gonna now that you've kind of been introduced into this early on in your life, like the sky's the limit. Do you think you're gonna eventually want to get into politics yourself?
Oh yes.
Yeah, yeah, that's what's up. That's awesome. So with going to events like the Young Black Leadership Summit, what was that experience like for you?
Well, the first time I went, I had never seen, so many people with the same mindset as me. Of course, okay, I went to a private Christian school growing up, and okay, I would say my school was predominantly black, but
Mm-hmm.
also a lot of them were conservative. So I kind of had that background to fall on, but actually connecting with people my age
Mm-hmm.
who had the same mindset and looked the same as me,
Yeah.
it definitely encouraged me to keep going with my message
Okay.
and to not back down because there are people out there that look like me and who come from where I come from, who think the same way that I think.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And when you get around like-minded people in your age and stuff like that, what are the kind of conversations that you guys have, not only about President Trump and the administration, but more so how to push Black culture forward? What are those type of conversations like?
Well, some of them, they take the time to listen to my stances concerning President Trump and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Others, they don't want to hear it. It's kind of different with people my age. If they don't think the same as me, they kind of rely on celebrities and
Yeah.
people they look up to and the news to kind of back their stances on without actually researching for themselves. So sometimes the conversations aren't productive. But if we can just get a good conversation in where we both just agree to disagree and respect each other,
Mm-hmm.
and we start listening to each other more, we can kind of get a good perspective from both sides.
Yeah. And that's what I try to do with my platform too. Is like I when I started this, it was all about having conversations and showing that you can understand somebody's stance or get an understanding on their views and everything without necessarily agreeing. And I think sometimes in our culture we try to force agreement. Like people go into the conversation with thinking when we walk away they're going to agree with me, and it's like that's just not how communication works in any shape or form. So it's just weird that people kind of have that mindset with it. But so I have to ask you about it because I know people have already heard you support Trump, and if I don't at least ask you about it, they're gonna ask me about it, and call me out. So this is not. I want to make sure that you feel this is not at all to judge your stance or your opinions or anything. This is just to get an understanding, because I think the conversation with people with talking with young black people who do support Trump, like the conversation, people don't really listen and to try to understand it. They just automatically like, you're crazy for supporting that man. So I want to talk to you about that. Like, in your support of Trump, what is it about like his platform that spoke to you initially, and then what has he continued to do that has continued to earn your loyalty to him?
The first thing for me was his pro-life stance. I'm proudly pro-life, and the reason why is because I believe, and not even believe, there's been statistics to prove that Black people have, killed off their children more than any other race. And because of that, because of us doing that, ever since I would say Roe v. Wade has been established, our population has remained at 13% since the 70s, since the 60s, 13% since the 60s. So I call myself pro-Black. And some people say you can't say that because you support Trump. But I'm like, yes, I can, because one, I am pro-life. And being pro-life, I don't want my offspring to be murdered off. I don't want the next generation of Black people to be murdered off. And I just feel like if you're going to call yourself pro-Black, at least be pro-life. Because what sense does it make to call yourself pro-Black, but then you're in support of the next generation getting murdered and the next generation getting, just being forgotten about, because some people want to have pleasure and, not take responsibility for it. So he's pro-life and I'm pro-life. So that's a big issue for me. I have some people telling me that they are one issue voters on that. So because he's pro-life and because he stands for, the right to life, babies being born, that's why they support him. So that's one of the reasons for me. And one of the top reasons, actually.
Okay. That's a good one. And so do you get more like backlash for the pro-life thing, or do you get more backlash usually from people like who first find you, who jump in like your mentions or whatever, or about Trump? Trump. Okay.
Because it's just like Trump's name is in the news every day. It's something negative every day about him. So of course, if people are listening to that and believing that and are actually going and doing their own research, of course they're going to hate him.
And that's something that I always say, like, regardless of whatever opinion that someone has on anything, I stop just relying on the media, because the media has their intentions. Every media outlet, I don't care which one it is, everyone has with their rhetoric that they're trying to push. And I think that a lot of times, and I've called people to carpet for this, like people just go off the headline or just go off what's on Twitter and don't even read the actual article. And it's like, look, they got you by doing that. Like, come on.
Right.
So what is it that, like, what are you working on? What's next for you? Like, as like, not even just in politics, in life. I know you still going to school and everything. Like, what do you see the next 5 years being for you, I should say?
Still college, trying to get my feet on the ground as a college graduate. I've always wanted to go into law and politics ever since middle school. So I have an internship coming up this summer where I'm not really trying to put it out there because I'm trying to move in silence. But like I said on your live, I'm interning for a senator, the only Black Republican senator in the United States. So I'm doing that. and that will help me to get my foot on the ground. Your name gets around fast in DC if you do a good job.
Yeah.
So hopefully that will help me out.
That's what's up. That's what's up. I mean, so you live in DC?
No, I live in
Okay.
Orlando, Florida,
Okay.
but
Okay.
my internship will be in
In
Washington, D.C.
DC. DC is my favorite city in the world. So you'll love. I know you've been there already, but DC is
Yes.
an entire like vibe. Like I love DC like like a city like no other. So I'm glad you'll be able to spend your time there. What with that internship, and you know what? Let's not, because you said you're already trying to move in silence. So I'm not even going to ask you
Yeah.
about that. I'll wait till you get into that yourself. But who are some of the other like people in the culture, not just necessarily in politics, but in the forefront that you kind of look up to and that you're modeling yourself after and that you hope to connect with?
So you saying not necessarily in politics, but just in general?
Yeah, just in general. It can be in politics, but not necessarily just in politics.
I mean, I wouldn't even say a celebrity or anything. I look up to my grandfather. He's a pastor. He I would say he is conservative, and he's told me that he is. I know he's a Republican as well.
Mm-hmm.
Not necessarily focused on that, but my grandfather's a pastor, and I know he was one of the first Black firefighters of the city of Orlando. So him being able to put aside, I guess blaming the white man for everything
Mm-hmm.
and actually doing his own research, or actually, you know, voting based on his values is what stuck out to me. I remember him watching the news when I was little, watching Glenn Beck, if you know who Glenn Beck
Yeah,
is,
of course.
watching the news, trying to educate himself, and that really inspired me
Okay.
to go on to the field as well. But just his example of being a man of God, but also abiding by his values,
Mm-hmm.
that means a lot to me.
Yeah.
And I don't say it to him that often, but he really is an inspiration to me, and he'll always be.
That's awesome. And that's like you rarely hear people say like, "Oh no, I don't look up to celebrity," and then mention like someone not only like in their family and an elder. So that's great that he was able to set that example for you, and you still look up to him to this day. How is like as like you've gained more and more notoriety and attention, how has like your family and him responded to that?
It's just like it's mixed everywhere.
Uh-huh.
Me and my dad don't agree on
Okay.
my politics, but he told me that at the end of the day, I'm his daughter, so he's going to support me, even though he might not agree.
Mm-hmm.
My mom, I just posted a video on my Instagram of my mom basically addressing a comment on my live of her saying she might not agree with everything on the right, but neither does she on the left.
Mm-hmm.
Even though she's independent, she still supports me. I'm her daughter,
Yeah.
and she's saying that she wants me to make my own path and
Yeah.
grow up, finally doing my own thing. So it's mixed opinions everywhere, but I know the majority of my family has my back no matter what, no matter if, we agree on politics or not.
Yeah. And that's good. That's good to have, because if like the family is the base, and when you have like you feel like you don't have the support there, it's not like it'll keep you from being successful or believing in what you believe in, but it always makes it easier when even if they don't agree, they understand. And to go back to kind of my point earlier, so that's good that you have that and that they support you in that realm. So I have to ask you, I want to ask you about this. So Black people kind of being treated as just a statistic, right, in the electoral college. What is something, and I really want to have this conversation with you because I can say it all day. I'm 33 years old. Everyone doesn't listen to me because they think I'm just, I'm old, even though I'm not old. 33 is not old, people. But thank you. But what is it like? Anyone who's listened to this who like wants to not feel like that statistic, where did you look and research to kind of help inform your thoughts on that? Where would you point them to? Anyone who really wants to start looking at politics more than just the numbers.
You said what would I give them to research?
Yeah. Where would you point them?
Okay.
What direction would you point them to?
So I use a search engine. I said it in another interview before, but I use a search engine called DuckDuckGo, and it's not biased like Google or anything like that. So I use DuckDuckGo, and it gives you a whole bunch of sources to back like what you're trying to research.
Okay.
So use the search engine. You can find it on Apple Store or the Google Store. DuckDuckGo. That's what I use.
That's dope.
And it's legit.
I research a lot for this podcast. Anything that I do, I try to make sure I research before I actually like talk about, because I think like a lot of times people just talk to be talking. And I've never even heard of DuckDuckGo, so I appreciate you for that, because I'm definitely gonna
Yeah,
check
it's
it out from now
definitely
on.
legit.
Okay, that's dope. That's
Better than
dope.
Google.
Everything's better than Google at this point. Like Google is so like, and the fact that people don't realize like Google limits certain search results and prioritizes other ones, like, and that's a
Yeah.
rabbit hole that I guess we can go down if you want to, but it's just like, wake up, people. Like if you don't notice it, like, it really frustrates me if you can't tell.
Hmm.
Yeah. Um so what like outside of politics, like what else interests you? Like people, because I think like people who are as outspoken as you, like we kind of put them in a pigeonhole where it's like, just tell us what you think about politics, just tell us what you think about pro-life. Like what do you think about like just like what music are you listening to, what do you do when you're on your downtime? Like that's what do you do in that time?
I love music, and I'm a Christian, so I try to stay away from secular music, but I
Mhm.
do have some good popping, Christian music. So I
Okay.
love gospel music, a little bit of Christian contemporary, but I love gospel music. I love Christian rap, and I love Christian Afrobeats music like that. If you know what Afrobeats is,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
like I
Okay.
love dancing, even though I can't dance, but I love dancing. And I grew up singing in church, so I like singing as well.
Okay.
And doing my makeup and getting my hair done and my nails done.
So that's what's up. That's
Yeah.
so how has like the lockdown affected you with like everything being closed?
TikTok. That's
Yeah.
all I've been doing is TikTok, my
Yeah.
schoolwork, my makeup, getting dressed to go nowhere and to
Mm,
do videos
yeah.
and eating. That's all I've been doing.
That's all you really can do, and it's crazy because like we're all gonna come out of this at least 10 pounds heavier. I feel like, and with
And
like
surprisingly,
crazy
I
health.
haven't gained, I don't know, I have not gained any weight.
Oh,
I'm just saying
see, you got
that
that
I
lucky
love to
fast
eat.
metabolism. See,
Man,
we're not
I
all
love
blessed with
to eat.
that.
I have a whole food highlight on my Instagram.
So like how have you found, like, because I imagine like how fast did your like social media followings jump up, like when you first like popped on the scene? Like how did you go from like 100 to like 1,000 overnight? Like how did that go, and then how did you deal
I
with
had
that?
1,000 already or something,
Okay.
but last summer I think somebody told me I had like 7,000
Okay.
last summer, and then now I have 20. Well, on Instagram
Yeah.
I have 28,000, and then on Twitter is where I have a lot of followers. Like I almost have 60K on Twitter. You just have to stay consistent,
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah.
And then I have 10K on TikTok. I just started that, no, 11K, but I just started that in February.
Yeah.
So you really just have to stay consistent, be yourself, don't try to please anybody, state your opinions, and stand strong on it. That's all you have to do.
You see, you dropping bars on this, and I appreciate you for that. What way are you like using your social media, not only for like, because social media is everything. It's entertainment, it's informative, it's for your message. Like, do you find that it's hard to kind of balance it between everything, or are you balancing it well? Because I can admit I suck
It's
at
hard.
balancing it. Yeah.
hard. That's it. It's hard because even when it comes to people saying negative things, you have to learn how to tune it out.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's hard for me to tune it out.
Yeah.
I'm still a young girl. I'm 21, trying to get through this life, trying to become my own woman and not worry about what people say. But it can be hard.
Mm-hmm.
But you can get through it though.
Yeah, it being in the media at any level, like I'm just a podcast, so I'm not gonna act like I'm huge or anything, but being in the public eye in any way, like, opens yourself up to a whole new realm of stuff. And like I found that I've had like there's parts of it that I have to keep just for me. There's parts that I have to keep off the podcast, off social media, off anything, and just leave it for me and my family. Otherwise I'd go crazy and it just consume me. So like how do you
Yeah.
balance the personal life and the social media?
Well, I try to make a schedule on when I'm on, when I'm off.
Okay.
Um, of course, I have to because I have schoolwork.
Yeah.
And then when I'm just hanging around family, I try to put my phone away, or we'll just be on our phones together and just do TikToks. It's so fun. I
I
love
don't
TikTok.
understand TikTok. Like, I'm not even gonna lie. I
It's
don't
just like a
understand.
dancing app.
Okay.
And then you just do dancing memes. Well, you can make dancing memes on there, and it's I like that because I like to dance, even though I can't dance. So I just try to balance everything. Yeah, yeah, it's worked out. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm fine. I'm not anxious. I'm not going crazy or whatever. Because if you stay on social media for too long and that's what your life is surrounded by,
Mm-hmm.
it can definitely get to your head.
Absolutely.
But having a good balance is definitely important.
Yeah, and you're definitely a great centered person, and you can tell that in the way that you carry yourself and everything. And it's just a ray of sunshine. I know you've probably heard that a lot. So I want to thank you for that. But like
I'm
one,
all right sometimes.
yeah, definitely.
Period. Thank you.
And so I usually ask an icebreaker question to start, and we kind of just jumped in the conversation. I want to ask you this: if you had to choose any three people, alive or dead, to have a conversation, to have dinner with you, and to have a great conversation, who would you pick, and why?
The first person will be my great grandmother.
Okay.
So my grandfather's mom, the one I was talking about.
Mm-hmm.
It's just because I never really got to. She died when I was like a freshman in high school, so I never really got to build a relationship with her.
Mm-hmm.
But definitely her. Who else? I don't even know. One civil rights leader. I don't know which one.
Okay.
But definitely a civil rights leader to kind of get their point of view on if they were alive today. Me asking them if they were alive today, what would be their reaction to what's, how the world is right now with, especially with political correctness and blaming one people group for something.
Yeah.
Today that's not really responsible for it today.
Mm-hmm.
Who else? I don't know. And then maybe somebody who's not here anymore, who has been great in the field I'm trying to go into, so law and politics. Basically asking them tips on how to succeed in this arena, what to do, what not to do, how to position myself. Yeah.
So you're kind of a unicorn, and what I mean by that is you're young, you're black, you're a woman, you're you're a Republican, a Trump supporter. Like you are like it's not very many people who outline all of that, and you're going into politics and law. So do you find it like, has it been difficult for you to find mentors? Do you feel like you stand out sometimes too much from like, and it's hard for you to relate to like people in your age group? Like how does that all work for you? And a strong Christian beliefs as well. So in a world where it seems like we get more secular every day, so like how does that make you feel, like fitting in or fitting out?
Sometimes I feel like I don't fit in, but at the same time, I've never really fit in, and I believe that was God's purpose for me. And it's still God's purpose for me not to fit in, because I mean, what good would that be for me?
Yeah.
If I want to really be inspiring to other people or really chase my dreams, my goals, I can't fit in. I have to stand out.
Yeah.
But regardless of that, I do have mentors. I told you that growing up, I went to a private Christian school that's predominantly Black, but also conservative. And it's in the hood. Like, it's like 5 minutes away from me. So it's not like in the suburbs or anything. It's in the heart of the city where, Black people are really going through it. So I do have mentors from there that I still talk to and still get advice from, that have the same views as me. So yeah, I'm Christian. I grew up Christian. So it's not hard to find somebody who, they might not support Trump, but they are Christian. They do have conservative values, because conservative doesn't necessarily mean you're a part of a party. It's just the values that you grew up with.
Absolutely. Last question, and then if you have anything that you want to say before we go, I'll open the floor up to you. Last question I have for you: how do you feel the country has responded to COVID-19? Do you feel like overall we responded well? Overall we responded badly? Like how do you feel about it? I know it's difficult. It's city by or state by state. Everyone's kind of handled it a little bit differently, but overall, how do you feel about it?
I think they're blowing it out of proportion.
Okay.
The fatality rate is not that high, and of course, we're gonna have more people who are affected by COVID-19 or who have tested positive for it, because we're the country who have the most. We have the most testing kits when it comes to COVID-19, and also I just don't understand how this country is basically, they're changing the focus from Chinese people being the face of it to Black people being the face of it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I understand that as a as a community we have high blood pressure and diabetes and all of that, but I don't like that they're trying to make Black people the face of this. And I just feel like every time they want a movement to pass by or to affect people, they always use blackface and they always use Black people
Mm-hmm.
to get their agenda across because of what
Absolutely.
Black people have gone through in this country. So I just don't agree with it. I don't like how they're going about this, how more people die from other illnesses or um people being murdered, even abortion.
Mm-hmm.
More people are dying. Some people don't consider.
Abortion deaths.
Oh,
Yeah.
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 So I'm just like, okay, if we're gonna do all of this for this epidemic or pandemic, we need to do the same thing for other things affecting people in this country.
Absolutely.
And please stop using Black people for every movement that you're trying to pass by and trying to get by on people.
Yeah.
I just don't understand it.
I feel it. I feel it. Well, that I agree with everything you said there. I think that like just watching how the media and how the coverage of it has changed from when it first started to the middle till now and everything. And it's just like, yeah, first of all, it's been ridiculous. And you know, even before, I think like initially when it looked like it was making its way to this country, like the whole way it was covered by the media was like, if you get COVID-19, you were gonna die, and then they started coming out, well, no, more people are actually surviving it than passing away from it, and that blew my mind because at that time it was like the media just made it seem like this was just the
Right.
bubonic plague, and we were all gonna die. So
And they didn't do all of this for the swine flu or H1N1.
yeah, yeah, makes you think.
Um,
It makes you think,
and
right?
a lot more people die from that than from this.
Yeah, I don't know how to feel. Like I don't think I think it's gonna be one of those things where it's like 20 years from now, our children are gonna be watching the documentary, and that's when the truth's gonna be coming out, like for real. Because it just this all this just makes my skin crawl. Just makes me like even more why I don't trust mainstream media at all. I really
Mm.
just hate watching mainstream media.
I don't pay attention to them either,
Yeah,
because paying attention to them now could really get me anxious and have a lot of anxiety, and having a lot of anxiety really um it really defeats the purpose of your immune system fighting off
absolutely.
infections and viruses.
Hmm.
So that's what they want. They want people to stay in fear so that if they catch it, they'll die, I guess.
Yeah,
And they'll say, "Oh, we told you about this. We told you this what happened." And then they want to control the masses.
yeah.
I feel like they want to control the masses by promoting this virus so much.
Yeah, controlling us in fear. Like you have people at home afraid to come out, and there's going to be the social trauma from this is going to last way past any of it. Like there are going to be people who are afraid of crowds for like the next 5 years, honestly, just because
Yeah.
of this. Yeah. But all right, that's I think we touched on that. Is there anything left that you want to like tell the people, inform them, anyone who's going to listen to this before we go? And if not, you can just give them your social media so they can follow you and we can get out.
I just want to say, don't be afraid to state your opinions, no matter who's around you, no matter who's supporting you and who's not. Stand strong on your opinions and your beliefs, and don't let anybody tell you down. And that's what I have to say.
There you go. There you go. Now go ahead and give them your social media.
Okay, so I'm on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok. I'm not gonna give you my Snapchat because that's just for me and my friends,
There you
close
go.
friends. But for all of those, it will be at Charrise Lane, CharriseLane.
All right, there you guys have it. Make sure you go and follow her, support her. Come on now. Don't come from this podcast and go arguing with her at all. Don't do it. Hopefully we gave people a different perspective. Hopefully, people hear this and now, unfortunately, as much I don't know if you want to be this or not, but you are in a way a face of the young Black conservatives. You know that,
Somebody
right?
else told me that too.
Yeah. You really are. So you gotta
I am to
yeah.
you.
Yeah, for sure. That's why I reached out.
Mm.
Like, but yeah, that's all I got. You guys can follow me at CEO Haize. That's CEOHAIZE. You can follow the podcast at Awaken Soul Pod or at the Awaken Soul Podcast, just depending on where you're looking for us. And we're out. Peace. All right, let me stop recording.